subjective. So what we're going to do is we are going to, off the bottom here, we're going to come up a little bit and put those dots in. And then off the center line, we're going to come up a little bit more than a little bit. Right? Intentionally vague terms. Mathematically, it doesn't come out to something even. But you're going to come, so you're just going to remember, you're going to be a little bit off the bottom and sort of look at the spacing between those. And then we are going to come up a little bit more than a little bit off the shoulders, not quite to a quarter, below that, but more than that. So I put those in here. And I have my center, and there is my 5-petal flower. If I had actually made this, on my bench with that. It's easy to, when you put your dots in, it's easy to move a dot around if you want to kind of put it up or down a little bit. So for the geometry of the 5-petal flower, I put one up at the top. I don't have to draw these lines in, but I'm going to visualize where that center line is and come up a little bit above it. And then along those 2 feet down here, not as far out as these ones are, so it'll be in from those. Trying to get that same spacing there. And there are 5 spots roughly located, equally distant around that circle. If I've got that, I then want to draw my 5 petals. They are going to be cooperative from there and coming in a more symmetrical fashion. Are there any questions at this point on working the geometry of the 5-petal flower? Does anybody have a Kleenex?
I think that's something in the bathroom for you.
Oh, in the bathroom we only have a fan.
Here, I got a.
Oh, this is exactly what I need. This is, we're set. We're set.
I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. May I erase? Yep. Okay. And if you want remedial symmetry, if you go to johnmuirlaws.com, that's johnmuirlaws.com, and go under the nature drawing link, you'll see drawing plants. There's a video that has an early version of this. I've got some ways of you know, like working out the symmetry on the 6-pointed one that's like way too complicated instead of this like, oh, just on the other side, right? I'm like, I'm going to put it.
Your last name?
Oh, L-A-W-S. But you can have this basically the same information, just not personally presented to you, nor with the same incisive clarity as these ones. Or humility. There we go. Now, the fun begins, because you can draw a circle. Oh, look at all that. Thank you.
You didn't draw the first.
All right, so you can draw a circle. You can put your dots around it. Now, that's great as long as you are looking straight down on every flower that you see. Right? So, hypothetically, should you want to draw a flower from an angle, this is where we get into what the artists call foreshortening. Foreshortening. To foreshorten something is to draw, like for instance, if you see my arm up at this angle, you see the full length of my arm. When I'm reaching towards you, from your angle, my arm in this dimension appears shorter. Your brain knows it's the same length. But if you were to draw it, it's the same length, then that wouldn't work, right? So that's weird things happen. Not all of them counterintuitive,